So if you own Bitcoin, you actually own a part of the network. So that's why it becomes incredibly powerful. I started realizing that this was all a network effect business model. And I started modeling Bitcoin, and it worked by using the number of wallet addresses. Then I started modeling Ethereum, and it exactly fitted too. And Ethereum, the network's growing faster because we've got so many developments on top of the network, much less on Bitcoin. So we've got a huge growth in the network of new people joining it, and then all of the network connectiveness of these new businesses. And we've seen the rise of NFTs and the rise of DeFi, in the last year. And so it's working perfectly within this Metcalfe's law model. But then I started realizing, what I then realized is you start to see some other breakout tokens like Solana and, let's say, Terra. So I modeled those. They're also exactly following network adoption models. And then what's really spooky about it all is Ethereum is exactly following even time and price and chart pattern Bitcoin in 2017.
Wow.
But Solana is exactly following Ethereum 2017. And if you remember what Ethereum did last time around, because it's earlier in the network and the exponentiality is larger. So I'm starting to realize that the whole space is the same thing. And that is a key for us all to be able to understand how to value this stuff. What's real, what's not? It's simple. It's the network.
And what do you think is driving some of these values? Is it just pure price speculation? Is there value there? Is there interest? What is it that is bringing these folks into the various networks?
So we talked about Ethereum, which is rich and deep as an ecosystem. So everyone gets that. So why Solana? What's going on there? Well, Solana first was price speculation, and then suddenly applications start getting built. There's NFTs being built, there's DeFi being built, there's stuff going on. So if developers are moving onto the network because it's cheaper and faster than Ethereum, but slightly less decentralized, that's the trade-off. So you can see it in real time happening. You can really see that the value is being driven by the network adoption model, and that's super clear.
And so when you kind of develop that framework, are you able to now take that backwards and apply it also to stocks, or does it just work on crypto?
No, it works on stocks too, particularly these network adoption model exponential things. So EVs is a great example. Why did Tesla trade the way it did? Everybody screamed it's a bubble. Well, when you put it on a log chart, A, it doesn't look like a bubble. And B, it's following the network adoption model that it takes a while for people to adopt the technology. And then when they do, everybody comes. And now we're seeing Ford with its electric vehicles, and the French car makers, and now VW and Audi and everybody. And that cars are now becoming software products and SaaS platforms. They will have streaming money within them. So you'll automatically engage with smart cities. So we don't even know what cars are going to be in the future. But we're seeing that whole model apply to all of this. Whether we look at Shopify, which is basically AI, those kind of businesses, they all fit the same model. We see the same model fitting out, like genetic sciences reached its tipping point over COVID because the vaccine rolled out, which had been worked on for 20 years for different uses. Now it's being green lighted. So that same RNA vaccines will be rolled out everywhere. So that's going to be an exponential business. We're seeing it with adoption of robotics, 3D printing, 5G. 5G is an obvious one. That's going to be exponential. So we will see this same business model absolutely everywhere, and it'll be the dominant business model of our times. And so much so that even within crypto, we're starting to see tokenization of communities. You can even think of Bitcoin as a tokenized community where people share the value about hard money. And it's a community token in that respect. So tokenization creates these network adoption business models everywhere around communities. So we're seeing a wholesale change to the world, and you're seeing it in the outperformance of this kind of stuff versus value investing. It's, you know, it's very, very clear. Doesn't mean value investing is worthless, but it just can't generate the kinds of returns that these exponential network effect businesses can.
So this is very well said. So when you think about these, you have this global macro heritage or background. How much of these, like when you look at networks and communities, it's really about the behaviors of people. How do those two marry together when you take your kind of macro hat and these network adoptions hat? Does it help? Does it hurt? How does it work together?
I think at first most macro people didn't see it, and I didn't either. In fact, none of us really did, because these all look like bubbles. Most of us missed all of the FANG stocks because they always traded expensive. We thought this is faddy. We didn't understand the value of networks. So I think macro missed all of that. But last year, when these things started taking off, it started making us think, okay, what is going on here? And I really had to question my own belief system about mean reversion within markets, what it means, because network stocks tend to mean revert to the exponential moving average. They don't mean revert to the average, right? It's very different. Like natural gas prices are exploding right now as we're recording this, but we know they will implode because that's how commodities work, because demand is met by supply. Or if it's a supply restriction, more supply comes on. So it self-regulates. Doesn't happen with these stocks. So I started seeing it, and two factors were at play. One was this new business model, and secondly was the fact that the central banks had started all printing money in gigantic size and mixing fiscal stimulus and monetary stimulus into the same thing. So there was no independence of the central bank anymore. And I looked at that and thought, why are all of these companies and why are all the markets going up? Real estate, why is it going up 25% in a clip? And then I realized because the central bank balance sheet got up 25% in a clip. So I started thinking, oh, maybe we're just devaluing the value of fiat currency, the purchasing power versus scarce assets, equities, real estate, gold, crypto, etc. So then I started dividing these things by the Fed balance sheet.